want to make your videos go from this to this in just a few simple steps? Well, my name's Dan, you're watching DanVinci, and welcome to the Edge Detect editing tutorial. Let's go. Alright then guys, so let's jump into Resolve and let's start editing. So first what we want to do is make a copy of our footage. Click Alt, hold it down, drag your footage up, it'll create an identical copy. Basically this shot needs to be exactly aligned with the other shot so that they're just sandwiched on top of each other and are exactly the same. This is important and it will come into play later. Now what we want to do is just isolate the car, because what I'm going to do is apply the Edge Detect only to the car. Okay, so we are in the color tab. Now what we want to do is navigate over to our node tree. Now don't worry if the node tree isn't showing or you don't know what it is, just go up to the top right corner and look at the buttons, and one of the buttons will say nodes on it. Click the nodes, you have your node tree area right here. So what we want to do is create a corrector node. Just click Alt S, that'll create a corrector node, or you can right click, click add node, corrector, it'll do the same thing. This node here is going to be the node that we're going to use to basically cut out the car and only the car. So what we want to do now is navigate over to our tools here, and I'm going to click on this little circle here. This is basically your masking window. You can mask out anything that you want. In our instance, it's going to be the car. So let's go over to the pen. This is where we can create a custom one. Obviously you can make a default square, circle. Basically if you're masking out something simple, the square is a bit quicker, but in our instance I'm making a custom mask to go around the car. Let's draw around the car now. So let's zoom in using the scroll wheel and let's just draw around our car. It doesn't need to be crazy accurate, just needs to get the general shape of the car. There we are. Now we have a general shape of the car. What we're going to do now is navigate over to the tracking window, which is this one here. Then click this little button here and it'll proceed to track the car. As you can see all these little points, it's very powerful, very quick. If you've got a slow computer, I still don't think this will be too intense, so you should be able to do this on really anything. So that's already tracked the car. Now there are a few errors, like it does expand out here, but that's all right. As long as we go over to our mask window again and just make it a bit softer, as you can see here, let's make it a bit softer. Basically this will mean that the mask will just sort of fade in and out. You'll see in the edit tab what this actually looks like in a second. So now we've got our mask around the car. If we play that through, it tracks around the car. This is perfect. Now right click in your node tree and click add alpha output. Go over to the blue square on the node that you have your mask applied. Drag that over to the blue square. Boom. Now it looks like nothing's happened, but you'll see what's happened in the edit page. So now we're in the edit page. At the minute, you're like,
Dan, what's happened? Nothing's happened. You're wasting my time.
I'm not wasting your time, because if we deactivate this clip by clicking D, boom, we now have a car that's basically, I don't know, glowing in the dark or something. But this is perfect because this clip here is going to be our Edge Detect effect. Now, what we want to do is get the Edge Detect. Navigate over to your toolbox and search Edge Detect. Edge Detect. Ah, nothing's showing up. That's fine. Just go over to Open Effects. Edge Detect is located in Open Effects. Drag Edge Detect over and apply it to your clip. And at the minute, it looks a bit weird. It looks a bit murky. It looks a bit blurry, but that's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to just play around with the controls a little bit. Go over to your Inspector tab, click on Effects, and any effect that you apply to a clip shows up in the Inspector tab under Effects, basically. Drag the edge width. Let's make I'm going to make this thin, make it really sharp, make it really pop a little bit more. And I'm going to bring the brightness up. You can change it to grayscale, but I like RGB, it kind of looks sick. So I'm gonna leave it at RGB. Honestly, all this talking, it makes you thirsty. I think I drink 7 or 8 million gallons a day when I'm filming. It's honestly bonkers. Bonkers. How do we apply this on top of the footage that we've got underneath? Let's turn this back on by clicking D. And at the minute, it looks like some kind of gothic car. And that's all right, it looks kind of cool. So I'm gonna go over to the video controls here and scroll down to composite. I'm gonna change the composite mode to add. This will apply the lines over the car. And then what we can do here is we can scale it up. Look at that. That looks pretty cool. So what I'm going to do now is animate this and make this really, really cool. So I'm going to play along now and find a point in the clip where I'd like this Edge Detect to show. So at the minute, it's just a normal car. I want it to show, let's say about here. Okay, so this is where the Edge Detect's going to show. So at the minute, it just pops into existence. That's all right. I'm going to click on the clip and I'm going to create a zoom keyframe here. Then I'm going to play along, go to about here, a couple of frames in, zoom it out so it's quite big. And then I'm gonna go a few frames forward again, and I'm gonna click 1 again and bring it back to how it was. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off the rest of this clip so it just sort of bounces in. Now we can animate this a bit more, make it a bit more aggressive and a bit quicker. What we do is we then click these little buttons here. These are your keyframe controls. I went into a bit of detail into this with the speed ramping video that I made. I think it was my last video. I've only made 3 videos. All the more reason to subscribe because I'm gonna be covering more of this all the time. So, you know, click that subscribe button because if you don't, I'll be having words with Your mum. I'm sorry, I'm too weird. So let's make this a bit more aggressive. So let's go and move this keyframe a bit there and there. So when I say aggressive, I'm making it quicker basically. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this keyframe and I'm gonna click ease in and ease out controls. And I'm gonna stretch these keyframes out like so. So now what we'll find is that this will expand quickly. So go boom, boom, sort of like a heartbeat in one sense. It mimics more natural movement than just a linear keyframe, basically. All right then, so now we have a nicely animated edge detect effect. If you want to leave it here, that's fine, but I'm going to add a few more things that make my videos really pop and stand out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drag over to the end of the animation and make a simple cut. We don't need this footage anymore, so we can get rid of it. So now we have the edge detect line effect, and that's it. So it just comes in and then disappears. So what we want to do is make a cut and line it up with the end of our animation here, and I'm going to get the edge detect again. So I'm going to search edge detect. There we go. I'm going to apply the edge detect to the footage to the right just after the animation. Now it's very dark, that's fine. Let's go over to the inspector tab and change the controls a little bit. So let's go nice and sharp. Let's make the colors really bright. There we go. So that looks pretty cool. So now it just pops and then it goes black. Now let's make this a little bit more realistic. Let's search adjustment clip. There we go, adjustment clip. Drag that over and it'll create an adjustment clip. Let's shorten this down and let's make this just about this long. So not much longer than our keyframed effect. Let's search camera shake, but make sure you get it out of the open effects. Drag camera shake over and apply this to the adjustment clip. Now at the minute, it does look a bit funky. Boom, 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 boom. But that's fine. We can adjust it because it's an adjustment. I'm weird. Click on effects and then you should see your camera shake controls there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the motion scale down quite a bit, and then I'm going to increase the speed scale all the way to the top. And this will look really, really cool. Just trust me. Now we need to create some keyframes. So click the keyframe buttons and make sure you're at the beginning of your adjustment clip. Then drag your cursor all the way down to about here. And let's reduce this down to 0. And let's reduce this down to 0 as well. Now we click play, let's see what we've got. Now that looks pretty cool already. But at the minute, there's a little jump, and I know why that is. If we go down to our, where is it? Zoom crop, reduce that down to 0. That means it won't do that jump at the end. And now it looks pretty cool. Now I'm gonna add some dirt onto the effect, and it'll look pretty cool from there. I don't actually know where that is.
3 weeks later.
Where is it? I've got to find it. Hang on guys, I'll get there.
Many months later.
Right, I found the footage finally. I've got some clips here of some dirt that I found on YouTube. These are really, really cool and they're free. I'll link some cool ones that I use on a regular basis in the description if you want to use it. So let's choose a point where we like the dirt. So let's go along here, drag this down here, and we're going to just drag this so it covers most of the clip, like so, like that. And then going over to our video controls again, we're going to click add once again, and this will add it to the footage. And then we got this. Come on, now that is so simple and it looks so good. But yeah, so that's been the edge detect effect. Let me know what you think. This is my 4th ever YouTube video on this channel, and I've already got like over 300 subscribers. Can we make it to 500? Can we make it to 1,000? Can we make it to 10,000? Can we make it to 100,000? Who knows? I'll see you later. You've watched Dan, and this has been DanVinci.